Hola, all you beautiful beings of light. Maria here. Hope you're all doing well in this thing we call life. Friendly reminder that we are all creator beings. Most of us are creating or manifesting, as you'll hear that word all the time, very unconsciously. And when I say that, it's because I know that our human brain really only operates off of 5% consciousness. So that literally means 95% of what we do, what we say, how we act, how we show up is subconscious programming and patterning that has started from, well, actually before we even entered into the physical world, started while we were in utero, to be honest. But I am just popping on to remind all of us that we create our realities based on what we are carrying internally. So if we are very unconscious to what we're walking around with energetically, meaning thoughts, emotions, traumas, programs, patterns, habits, then we are creating from that lower vibration. And when it comes to energy, there is either the energy of love or fear that we manifest from. The majority of us are still very much manifesting from fear. That is not a judgment. That is just how it is. That's just an observation of the human collective and being aware of the fact that we are programmed from a very, very young age. So with that said, a couple just helpful tips for you as you navigate through your day and just the challenges that life throws at us. People ask me, how do I know if I'm manifesting from fear or love, right? That's another way of asking how to discern ego and higher self. Because remember, the ego lives in fear. The higher self, soul, spirit, light, whatever you want to call it, is the energy of love. It doesn't just live in love. It is love. So a couple of little helpful tidbits that I could give to people to kind of just bring an awareness to self and where are you manifesting from. You can ask yourself a couple key questions. One of them being, if I am presented a situation in my life that is similar to things I've gone through already in life, how did I handle those things in the past? How did I respond? How did I react? What were my choices? Because there's a good chance that my decisions were based in fear, right? Because we know this. Once you start to really know that, then you can look at it very objectively. It's not to judge yourself. It's literally to look at it from that observer lens and say, okay, knowing what I know, knowing that we're programmed, knowing that we are literally in a fear-based realm, in a fear-based game, then I know most of my decisions in the past were rooted in fear in some way. So now that I'm presented with similar situations in my now reality, how can I make a different decision? How can I not repeat self-destructive patterns, self-destructive behaviors that are literally just coping mechanisms, right? That we created very young or were created for us, right? And kind of instilled into us. So when you look at things that happen in your day-to-day life and choices that you have to make, take a step back before you react, before you make the decision right away. Take a couple deep breaths, connect with your body, connect with your heart. That's what I always like to do. I feel very connected to my body when I touch the center of my chest because I know that's where my heart is. And to me, that is the portal of truth. It's the portal of my soul. So if that works for me, when I'm in a state of stress or duress or fear or anxiety, I literally just take a step back and take a couple deep, intentional, conscious breaths to bring myself back into the center, back into my body. And then I say, okay, I am safe. I'm safe to navigate this to the best I can navigate it. Now, I know I've been presented this problem before, or this scenario, or this issue many times before. And how did I handle it then? Okay, I either ran, I either numbed out, I distracted, I silenced myself, right? There's so many different coping mechanisms that we do to feel safe in that now moment. But knowing that, having that awareness, That's a gift. Being able to have the awareness of how we operated in the past is truly a gift. And it's to be able to use that and say, okay, well, knowing that I want to create and manifest from a space of love instead, then how do I go about that? Okay, well, I make kind of the opposite decision I made in the past, right? And I've used my decision to leave my job as a example for people, because it's a very real life example that I can easily kind of illustrate to people. So when I left my job as a nurse well over 2 years ago now, the choice was not rooted in fear. It was rooted in the fact that I no longer felt aligned with what I was doing in that role. It didn't fulfill me anymore. It hadn't fulfilled me for a while, but I had to get really honest with myself and recognize why it felt out of alignment. And why did co-creating branches of vibrational healing feel in alignment? Because it was everything opposite of how I operated as a nurse, to be honest, right? It is so much more rooted in the root cause of disease, the root cause of why we are disconnected from source, from our higher self, from that spiritual energy, which in my belief is what creates disease in our body. And I can only speak from my own personal journey, but that is what created a multitude of diseases in my body, in my mind, and in my emotional body, right? And so while being on this healing journey, I recognize that the more aware I become of myself, the more conscious I make my unconsciousness, the more light I shine on my shadow, the more I step into this empowered, conscious creator being that we all can be. We're all creator beings all the time. We're all manifesting our realities all the time. We're energy, and everything outside of us is energy. And so we're only going to experience that which we are a vibrational match for. So if we have all this unresolved fear in our body that we're not even aware of, well, guess what? Our external reality is going to be a profound mirror of that. It is going to show up in different expressions, different ways. But when you get to the root of it, it's still a fear consciousness that's driving it. Now, the more you work through your fears and bring them to your conscious awareness and start facing them and choosing to respond, react, and go about life in a different way, well then, my friends, you become a very empowered conscious creator. And I believe that that's what we're all here to do if we so choose, right? I think we're all here walking our own individual journeys, however that looks to each of us. And I wholeheartedly support everyone in their journey in whatever way feels aligned for them. The thing of it is most of us don't even recognize that we're out of alignment because we're very distracted. We're very numbed out. We're very programmed. We're very brainwashed. And until you start to really get honest with yourself and go in, you won't even see that you're not in alignment, because we've been following all of these narratives. We've been following society's expectations and societal standards to show up in the world. And that has really created this false identity for ourselves, right? This personality that we identify with is not who we are. That is part of the egoic structure. It's an aspect of who we are, but it's not who we are at our core. And so hopefully this gives you a little bit of an idea on how to become more of a conscious creator. First, you got to start digging deep and looking at the things that you are afraid of, looking at the things you're attached to, looking at your expectations. These are all things that are rooted in the energy of fear. And the more you can shine a light on it and become aware of it and give yourself compassion for it, because you are walking the human journey. Of course, you're going to have fear in you. Of course, you're going to have insecurity in you. That's what makes you the courageous spiritual being that you are, to walk in this avatar, to walk in this human skin suit, because it is the human skin suit that experiences all of those other lower vibrational consciousnesses, right? Our soul, that part of us that never dies, that never goes anywhere, it's just light. It's just this essence of love, of source energy. That part of us is always there, but it never lives in fear. It doesn't experience all of these things that we experience in the earth plane, right? It does. The part of it that drops down into this body does. But the other higher part is literally just chilling in its love and looking down at the human and saying, wow, that human is so courageous for feeling all the feels of the human experience, because that's where the wisdom comes from. And I believe that's how we share medicine and connect with others, right? So start being more conscious, start becoming that conscious creator that is manifesting from a space of love, from a space of gratitude, from a space of abundance, truly believing that we are abundant in who we are outside of all of the materialistic things. It doesn't matter what we have in our bank account. It doesn't matter the house we live in. It doesn't matter the clothes that are on our back. We have everything we need at the core of who we are. We truly do. But society has told us otherwise. So stop listening to society. Stop listening to everyone else. Stop listening to the limiting beliefs and start to choose from this space of love and abundance, because I promise you, your external world will start to mirror that for you. Love ya.